Welcome to Legends and Laughs. I'm Emily Connor Cooper, and today we're at the beautiful Henderson, Nevada home of a longtime Las Vegas resident and a true legend, Gene Kilroy. Gene was Muhammad Ali's business manager and best friend for decades, who spent countless hours with him and many other legends in the sports and entertainment businesses. Today he's sharing some of his stories straight from his home. I know a thing or two about show business. You could say it's in my blood. I was born and raised in Texas, made my way to New York City to study at NYU, and I landed a job as a producer with NBC, CBS, and even on Broadway. In addition, my life became a lot more interesting when I met Pat Cooper at the Friars Club. From the hustle and bustle of New York City to the glitz and glamour of Las Vegas, I've had the privilege of being surrounded by some of the funniest and most talented people in the world. And today you'll hear from people who knew Pat and who Pat knew, and in many ways you won't hear anywhere else. So sit back and relax and get ready to hear some stories that will make you laugh, cry, and maybe even scratch your head a little. This is Legends and Laughs, where the humor never stops and the legends never fade. Gene, welcome to the show. I'm so glad to have you, and thanks for doing it today.
Well, I've always enjoyed your company, and I have a lot of respect for you, the way you took care of Pat. I'm there just a phone call away any way I could help you.
Oh, I appreciate that. You've always been a good friend, and you've always told us a lot about your history here, and you really have a very colorful past. And you've lived here in Las Vegas for several years. Since 1979, so almost 50 years, is that right?
You know, I did a big article in Sports Illustrated, and they asked me, do you have any fear? And I said, the only fear I fear, someday my mom's going to wake me up and say, come on, it's time to go to school. Like my life has been a dream. The things I accomplished in life, and I was just 6 years old when my dad died, and my mom had 3 boys. And her whole life was her boys. So just, you know, the only way we ever seen celebrities or anything was on television. Mm-hmm. So that was a big thing. And now, you know, I go places, people want pictures with me. Can I get a picture with me? And they ask me, can I get your numbers? I said, 120/80. I don't want to, everybody, I'm not looking for new best friends. And I'm happy in my own little world, in my house, with my dogs and my good friends.
Well, many people know very well who you are and about your history. And it pretty much started in 1960 when you met Muhammad Ali.
I was in the service in Munich, Germany, and I was playing sports. And they needed someone to go sign pay vouchers. And they called me and asked me to recommend somebody. So I recommended myself. And I went in there and I was very close with the boxing team, Scooter McClure and Eddie Crooks and all. And there was this young kid there, Cassius Clay. We had a fighter, Alan Hudson was a light heavyweight. And he fought people like they raped his mother or daughter or something. He was a real killer. He had that killer instinct. And he was fighting this young kid, Cassius Clay, from Louisville at the Olympic trials in Chicago. And Cassius Clay beat him real bad. And I wanted to meet this Cassius Clay. So when I was in Rome, I became friends with Cassius Clay. He was a good kid. He was a nice kid. If you had to pick a mayor of Olympic Village, you would have picked him. He knew everybody. And the Russians told him, here you are, you're the champ now, you can't even eat in the restaurants. He said, but things are going to change. And his mother always told him, Mama Bird was a great lady, his father, Cash, was a good guy, his whole family, I'm very close with all of them, his kids and all. If you could make the place a little better than you found it, the world, that would be a great accomplishment. So he did, he changed a lot of things there. So I'm happy to be part of it, I'm happy to be there. And I'm blessed in my own little world.
Well, I believe, if I read the history correctly, that he did not want to be called Cassius Clay anymore because he considered that his
Slave name. He told me a story one time. He went to the Baptist church in Louisville, Kentucky, and his dad was a great painter, a great artist painter, and he painted the Last Supper there and all, and they went in there and he said, Cash, where are the black people? He said, they're in the kitchen cooking. So he knew there was something wrong. And then he came out of the church one day and he went down to the Southern white church, and they were singing the same songs that he heard in his church. Yes, Jesus loves me. Yes, we have a friend in Jesus always. And the minister came out, and the minister said, hey, boy, what are you doing here? Get out of here. You don't belong here. He knew there was something wrong. So we heard the teachings of the Honorable Elijah Muhammad. We don't have our own name. We don't have our own country. Where's Negro from? Chinese are from China. Irishmen are from Ireland. Italian from Italian, Italy. But where are the Negroes from? So he at that time, black people were prejudiced. They didn't care about them. They were nothing. But because of his teachings, the Honorable Elijah Muhammad, he gave black people a whole new life to look forward to it, get an education. Like he told me one time, I see the white man as the devil. I don't look at you as the devil. I look at the white man who raped the black man's wife and daughter, deprived the black man of getting an education. To do that, you must be a devil. I don't like you. I don't look at you as a devil. There's a greater power has you here with us than myself and Muhammad Ali. Allah has you here. And that was his God. He believed in that like the Pope believes in Jesus. And everybody's entitled to believe in what they want to believe in.
And he stood up against the draft, right?
Yes. Well, I was very helpful. If you recall, at that time in Vietnam, the rich people in Vietnam, they went to London to live. And now our guys went over and got killed. And then when the war was over, they came back and took over the country again. So, like he said, they never called me, they didn't use the word N-word. I'm not, if they came in this country, I'd be the first in line. But they didn't write about it like that.
When you mentioned London, I remember a story about when you all were there, and the Queen was there, and Ali was there, and people were running towards Ali.
Yeah, well, in London, you couldn't speak to the Queen unless she spoke to you. So he didn't know that, and people were coming up to him, and he said, I'm more popular than she was. But he didn't realize that that's what happens. You can't talk to her unless she talks to you. And she had a lot of respect for him. And the people, the Brits over there, when they took his title away from him here, they still kept him as their champion over there. Wow. There was a guy, Tyrone Monahan, and his dad. They backed Muhammad, and they kept the title there.
So people throw around the term GOAT, the greatest of all time, frequently now. Yeah. But I think when it really boils down to it, from my observations, people really feel like he really was. If anyone deserves that, he does.
Break it down this way. In basketball, you have 5 guys out on a team. In football, you have 11 guys offense, 11 guys defense. But he was by himself in the ring. On the basketball court, he didn't have a Karl Malone looking out for him, or in baseball, he didn't have a Bob Feller. He was there by himself. So what is remarkable about it is he won the title in '64, and 10 years later he came back and won it in '74. Now what is remarkable about that, he believed in his heart, and Elijah Muhammad would call him on the phone and tell him, how can you lose? Allah is in your corner. The other men don't have Allah. And that was his victory song, like Notre Dame, Mass and Communion. And, Charles Barkley gave a great observation. The guy crossed the goal line. Thank you, Jesus. Thank you, Jesus. The other team don't have Jesus. Jesus is too worried about floods and earthquakes than worrying about sporting events. So that was it. But the Zaire, Africa fight, he said that God put it over there. He can't go anywhere We went to Zaire, Africa, the Belgium Congo at that time. Mobutu was the president. And I went to the American Embassy. We had 22 people, so we could shop at the American Embassy. So we lived like kings. And then I had Kirk Kerkorian send us the movies over. And he said, I'm so happy to be here. No one could pull me away from training. God put this fight here for me. And that was his thing. And the Zaire fight, I remember when George Foreman cut his eyes. And Ali was abusing George. He took no back seat from him. And I told Mobutu's top aide there, Jimpupu, I said, if they leave, they'll never come back. Take their passports. So they took the passports. But they didn't realize they could have flown into London and went to the American Embassy and got passports back. It was an open country. But I saved the fight, basically, to Zaire, Africa.
Okay, Gene, hold it right there. We're going to take a quick break. Yeah. We'll be back with more Legends and Laughs with Gene Kilroy after this.
Hey Vegas! Celebrate every day in style at the Composer's Room. From live music to comedy shows, we've got entertainment that'll give you that Las Vegas vibe. Our tavern serves the best drinks in Vegas. Whether you're a cocktail connoisseur or a beer buff, our bartenders got you covered. And let's not forget about the food. Our culinary delights are sure to tantalize your taste buds. Come for the entertainment and stay for the food. Reserve your visit to the Composer's Room today and start celebrating Las Vegas our way.
On the Strip, built on legends, the real magic totally happens right here. Step inside the Magician's Room, where world-class illusionists and mind-bending mentalists make the impossible happen, like inches from your seat. Fast, fun, unforgettable. This is Vegas magic, up close. The Magician's Room, at the Link Promenade in Las Vegas. Step inside and leave reality at the door.
Welcome back. We're here with Gene Kilroy today. And Gene, I was wondering, so what are some interesting points of the Africa fight with Zaire?
Well, how it started out, John Daly, who was the big Hollywood producer, he had so many great movies, Academy Awards and all. He met with the people in Belgium, and they put up the money for the fight, Zaire, Africa. Now, Zaire, Africa, the Congo, they wanted to promote it for tourism. So they got Don King, who was not the promoter. Don King was not the promoter, Hank Schwartz and Barry Bernstein. And they sent Don King out to meet with George Foreman. And George said, I'm not fighting him. If I beat him, I'm just beating an old man. So Don King said, $5 million. George said, get the contract, I'm signing it. So Bob Halloran is interviewing Ali. And Ali said, I can't wait to get you guys over to the Congo. The Lumumba boys are going to put you in a pot and cook you. So I got a call from the president saying, he said, we're trying to promote tourism, not kill it. We don't do that over here. So Ali apologized and we went on and promoted it. But it was something to fight, you know. And I remember right before the fight, the Don King was not the promoter, but because George wouldn't do any interviews, Don took the mic and he ran with it. Video Hemdale, John Daly was a promoter. But then, like, getting closer to the fight, and I remember the night of the fight, a stadium that held 80,000 people, there might have been 20,000 people at the fight, and all the poor people were outside. So I tell Ali about it. He said, go get the president's man. I brought him back. He looked the president's man dead in the eye. He said, if you don't let them people in, I'm not fighting. He said, I can't let them in. They don't know. He said, I'm not fighting. He said, let them in. And all the people came in. And they were the choir during the fight. Ali Boumaye. Ali Boumaye. That means Ali, kill him. When we came off the airplane in Zaire, Africa, late at night, it was black, dark. And they were yelling, Ali, Ali. Ali said, who don't they like over here? I said, I guess white people. No, I can't tell them George Foreman's white. I said, Belgium. So they were yelling, Ali, Ali. And Ali yelled, shh, George Foreman's in Belgium. And they start yelling, Ali Boumaier, Ali Boumaier. I said to our interpreter, what does that mean? That means Ali, kill him, kill him. Because they remembered the Belgians would put the dogs on the black people over there. And here comes George Foreman off the airplane with his dog, Diego. He had a German Shepherd dog. I said, we're home free. But Ali humiliated him and disgusted him, and he just took his heart away. But it was a great win for Ali, and I wanted him to retire right after Zaire, Africa. Elijah Muhammad wanted him, but how can you keep a man from doing something that he loves doing? So that was the Ali. He went on, and he's still the greatest heavyweight in all times.
Well, he was so much more than a fighter, though, and that's why I think people really do consider him the greatest of all time.
Well, he spoke his mind,
right?
you know.
Yeah.
You remember coming up to Cassius Clay, being interviewed and all. They just talked to the trainer. Your fighter's a good fighter. When is he fighting next? Well, my guy's going to fight in Syracuse in 2 weeks. And Ali said, wait a minute, I'm the fighter, talk to me. So then they started interviewing Ali.
I remember you said one time that it was like he had a mirror in front of him. He was talking to himself and telling himself what to do.
Well, his corner, I didn't. He did it in the four posts. There was nobody smarter than him in there. And people said, who does he talk to in the corner? I said, I hold the mirror, and he looks at the mirror. Said, well, I got to move more to my left. I got to do this. You know, there was no one in the four posts smarter than Cassius Clay Muhammad Ali.
Just a great guy. And there's a strange coincidence. Today happens to be, and it is a total coincidence,
the funeral.
The 10-year anniversary of his death.
Yeah, I used to see him. I went to see him several times, and I would see him shake and all. And I'd say, God, you know, take him. And then he'll come out with something. And I said, no, keep him here with us, you know. But he lived a good life, and he had his family around him, and good to his children and all. You know, there's an old Irish saying, we're never dead as long as our name is remembered. And this is what his name is being remembered.
He has an amazing legacy. He was a magical person. He was so much more than a fighter. And he really did spread a lot of joy and good blessings and energy to everyone who followed him and watched him.
Well, I said about him, he always had time for the poor, the powerless, depressed, deprived. We would get calls at that camp, people wanting money. I said, here it is 11 a.m. Tell them go get a job. You know, he said, no, we'll send them some. We can't send them a lot, but he was always good to people.
Generous, right? Okay, we're going to take another quick break. We'll be right back with more Legends and Laughs.
Hey Vegas! Celebrate every day in style at the Composer's Room. From live music to comedy shows, we've got entertainment that'll give you that Las Vegas vibe. Our tavern serves the best drinks in Vegas. Whether you're a cocktail connoisseur or a beer buff, our bartenders got you covered. And let's not forget about the food. Our culinary delights are sure to tantalize your taste buds. Come for the entertainment and stay for the food. Reserve your visit to the Composer's Room today and start celebrating Las Vegas our way.
On the Strip, built on legends, the real magic totally happens right here. Step inside the Magician's Room, where world-class illusionists and mind-bending mentalists make the impossible happen, like inches from your seat. Fast, fun, unforgettable. This is Vegas magic, up close. The Magician's Room, at the Link Promenade in Las Vegas. Step inside and leave reality at the door.
Gene, I have some questions for you about how you really got started and how your career sort of came to Vegas and how you became very involved with Vegas, because you did live in New York for many years when you worked for MGM, right?
Yes. Well, when I came out here with Ali to the fights and all, and I said, Ali, this would be a great city to live in. You know, the restaurants are open all night. There's all kind of entertainment. The properties are cheap. And I said, I'm going to get a place here. So I bought a place out here even before I moved here. I had a lady living in it, and you know, it was, Vegas at that time, Vegas, the big cities were New York and all, but you could be Frankenstein with the hole in the head, and Dr. Azor did your plastic surgery or something in LA, and you could tell a girl, you're from Vegas, here's my card. She'd want to come to Vegas. It was a tourist attraction, but it was a great city to pick up girls.
This was about 1978 or
Yeah,
the late
1978,
70s?
79, 80. And it was a great city. It was unbelievable, you know. Where else can you go see Frank Sinatra one night, Elvis the next night, you know? The shows were great. It was unbelievable.
And Tom Jones.
Tom Jones, yeah, it was great. It was unbelievable. And I sat right in, everybody wanted to meet Ali. Right. So I was right in with the right crowd, you know, but it was a great city.
How did you get involved and close to the Kennedys?
Well, when I was a young kid in high school, I put together a group for John Kennedy, Athletes for Kennedy. And then I became good friends with Bobby Kennedy. And I became friends with the whole family, Carolyn, young John, all of them, for years and years, and they all look after me.
So, Gene, I was wondering if you could kind of tell us a little bit about your thoughts of who really built Las Vegas.
Jimmy Hoffa. He couldn't get money to come to Vegas, so he put his own money there in the unions. Now, all them people, the union people, that was 50 years ago. They're all retired. Their homes, they paid $110,000 for the home. They sold it for $800,000 today. They're back in little apartments. Their kids are all in college or graduated, and they became the big slot players and the big sport book players in Vegas. They're the ones making it. But Jimmy Hoffa was the one who made it. All his union people today, they're all doing well. They get the Social Security check, they get the union pension. You know, it's a big city.
Tell us a little bit about Kurt Kerkorian, because I know you were pretty close to him, right?
Well, what happened was Kurt came into Vegas, and he bought the International, and he put carpeting all over the International. That was the first one. Then Steve Wynn came in, and he took pool rooms and made them into country clubs. So he deserves a lot of credit. And then Howard Hughes, you know, but there's a lot of people really contributed a lot to Vegas.
Well, Kurt Kerkorian was a particularly nice guy, as I understand, and you all were close, and you did have
I was very close to him. I worked for him in New York, director of marketing, MGM Movie Company. And he liked to come in and be around me because all the fighters were around me. And then when Morris Schenker brought me to Vegas here, the Atlantic City Open, I got offered a big job at resorts, and Morris heard about it. He flew into New York. He had an apartment. I met him at his apartment, and I came out to Vegas with him. But he brought me out here. I was executive assistant to the chairman of the board, which was him. So I kind of ruled the thing by myself.
So I understand that Kurt Kerkorian actually helped you with when you had a problem with cancer, right?
Yeah, Kurt sent me to Santa Barbara on his private jet to see one of the top cancer doctors there. And I remember the cancer doctor came in. He said, well, I got some good news and some bad news. I said, well, give me the good news. He said, I'll give you the bad news first. He said, you got cancer, 3 months to live. I said, okay. So I got a call from Jim Brown, and he told me, here's my number if you need anything. So I said, I'm not going to fight. I'm going to fight this. So then Kerkorian's guy, Burton Cohen, gave me a great cancer doctor here in Vegas. And I went to see him, and I'm still alive because of him.
So the Atlanta Olympics.
Okay. In Atlanta, we were there, Ali and I, we did a boxing show, and I knew they were going to have the Olympics there. So I asked the guy who was in charge there, he said, well, here's my secretary, give her a call. So I called the secretary. I said, I was talking to your boss, Muhammad Ali, about coming there to be involved. She said, who's he? I said, oh, I hung up on her. I called Andy Young. Andy Young said, that would be a great idea. Ali lighting the torch. I'll take care of it. So next thing I knew, I gave him Lonnie's number. He called Lonnie, and there were like 10 tickets for this one, 10 for airfare, tickets, rooms, and all. And he was going to light the torch. So they told me, don't tell anybody. And I called Mark Spitz's dad, who I was very, very friendly with. I said, Mr. Spitz, Ali's lighting the torch in Atlanta. He said to me, Gene, how many gold medals did Muhammad win? I said, 1. He said, my son won 18. I said, I rest my case, Your Honor. But Ali lit the torch, and that was a big success for him.
What about Buzz Aldrin? You were close to him.
Buzz Aldrin was a great guy. I met him after he came after Moon. He had a big drinking problem. I'm working at the dunes. He'd get drunk all the time. And I had a buddy of mine who went to AA. And my buddy took him to AA. And then years later, Buzz did a TV show in LA. They said, it's remarkable. You've been sober for so many years. No, you walked on the moon. He said, no, what is remarkable, I've been sober for 40 years. And my friend Gene Kilroy in Las Vegas had me go to AA. And people calling me think I went to AA. I said, no, my buddy took him. I never drank in my life. But he gave me credit for having him go to AA.
You know, one of the last times I saw you was at the Fountain Blue at the opening night. We all went together with your friend Winston Morgan, who I actually bought a car from. And I actually sent Frankie Avalon's son, Nick, to buy a car from Winston. He's a good guy. That was a fun night.
It was a great night. It was a good night. But I was good friends with the father. I thought the father was a great guy. I loved the dad.
Mr. Sofer, Jeff's father, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Good guy.
Well, they put on one heck of a party that night, I'll tell you.
Yeah, it was good.
All right, well, listen, Gene, we're out of time now, but thank you so much for letting us come to your home today. This was really interesting, and we'll do this again.
Okay.
We can talk some more, and you're going to show us around a little bit, and
Well, you go make yourself at home.
Yeah, no, this was great. Thank you for joining us. We'll see you next time on Legends and Laughs.